Nancy Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So it is our 2022 summer reading Oceans of Possibility program still going on. Believe it or not, we are getting closer to the end, as crazy as that sounds, but it is a new week, which means we have a new theme, we have a new badge, and this week we are all about possibilities of exploration. And there's some multi-layers to this. What do we mean by possibilities of exploration? We are examining books that deal maybe with a sport or a hobby or something you want to try or you already enjoy doing. You want to explore new things. Or maybe you take it another direction and you're all about exploring different causes, different things you want to get passionate about, you want to stand up for. So we have 6 amazing books that have a combination of all of those elements, a little bit of something for everyone. So let's get started checking out these amazing books. Our first one this week is Undefeated. This is by Steve Sheinkin. If you watched enough of these, if you haven't watched this, Steve Sheinkin is amazing. One of my favorite nonfiction authors. Yeah, that's right. It's nonfiction. Totally true. But he writes so amazing, so incredibly well researched. I recommend all of his books, Undefeated, no exception. Now, this is all about Jim Thorpe. And if you don't know who Jim Thorpe has been called one of the best athletes of all time, literally all time. And this is his story. Now, he was a Native American who at the time when he was born, starting to grow up, he was living on a reservation. And it was the policy at the time of the government that they would go onto these reservations and they would basically kidnap all the children and bring them to schools out east to make them forget about their heritage. They would rename them, they wouldn't let them speak their language, they would have to speak English, they would have to wear English clothes, That's what happened to Jim Thorpe. Jim Thorpe finds himself at a young age being forced to move to Carlisle, Pennsylvania. He goes to school with a bunch of his other friends that are now his classmates that have also come from the same place. And they decide that they're going to form a football team when they get older at this school. And this is something still like football's in its infancy, it's just really getting started, especially at the collegiate level. So they form this football team, and before they know it, they are going up against many of the college powerhouse teams in the country. And they're winning, which is completely unheard of and people weren't expecting, especially given the fact that they were Native Americans. But no, they were incredible. They were winning. Now, this amazing nonfiction book will have you open your eyes to one of the best players at the time and who's ever played the game, as well as how Native Americans were treated in this country. And you will leave with so much more appreciation for the advances that this team helped bring to not only football, but also in the eyes of society. It is seriously multi-layered. You'll learn about football, you'll learn about the treatment of Native Americans, you'll learn about Jim Thorpe. And again, when you read his story, you will be wondering too, thinking he could possibly be the greatest athlete of all time. This is Undefeated. A Duet for Home. So it is after her father unexpectedly dies that 11-year-old June, along with her younger sister and her mother, who is completely shrouded in her grief, they were evicted from their apartment and they are now living in a homeless shelter in the South Bronx in New York City. It is completely different from the life they had known before, and June is so angry with everything that's gone on, and it doesn't help that as soon as she gets to this homeless shelter, she finds out she's not able to do the one thing she loves to do, and that's play her viola. Musical instruments are outlawed from being played at the homeless shelter. It is when she meets fellow 6th grader and resident Tyrell, though, that things start to change, as he and June become fast friends, and Tyrell even starts to help June find secret places to play her instrument. They just have this immediate bond. Now, Tyrell has a different outlook on their situation. He's just happy now living at the shelter that he has 3 meals a day because there were times he would go hungry. For him, he views this as a complete improvement. As they both start to adjust to their new normal, Tyrell and June start to overhear a plan from the shelter director. And this new plan would force people to have to leave the shelter after they've been there for 90 days. they know they need to stop it. They decide they're going to do something about it, and they start to bring like this call to action on bringing awareness to what's happening and what needs to be done. This musical field story is one that is layered with so many storylines, which will make you think and will make you see through a different lens, from friendship to activism to how to help people dealing with various forms of trauma, and how people live their lives. This heart-filled story is a worthwhile read. I highly recommend this one. This is a duet for home. Homerooms and hall passes. So in this fantasy world known as Brandalore, there's an apprentice, there's a wizard, a barbarian, a thief, a paladin, and an elf. And it's this group of individuals that they always get together on Thursday nights to play this role-playing game known as Homerooms and Hall Passes. Now, it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, kind of what this is. They're playing this game in which they're middle school students. They get together to play Homerooms and Hall Passes. Now, when Devis, who is the thief in their group, when he steals a cursed treasure, they all of a sudden, this group of friends find themselves transported to the land in their game, and they become actual people in this land. Like, they're the wizard, they're the elf, they're all of their roles. The only way they're going to be able to get home and survive the rest of their semester, survive and get back to school, is they're going to have to play the game while they're there. But they also manage to bring along an evil sorcerer with them named Zerdak, who wants to stop them at any cost. This humor-filled fantasy adventure will have you laughing out loud, experiencing middle school just like you do. If you like role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, you will love this one. This is Homerooms and Hall Passes. A batch made in heaven. So Mina loves to bake, and she is so excited when she's offered an internship at the local bakery during the summer. But things do not go as planned right from the first day. When the owner's son, who's just 1 year older than she is, his name is Flynn, he refuses to let her into the kitchen that they call the cookie vault because it holds all of their top secret recipes, and he doesn't know what her intentions are, and blah, 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 blah. All Mina wants to do is learn how to make the best cookie possible because there's a contest she wants to enter with the hopes of winning this contest because her father has this dream of opening up his own restaurant here like he had back in Pakistan. And she wants to win this money to help him realize his dream here in the United States. But how is she supposed to do that if she can't even get into the kitchen to learn how to do what she wants to do? If you like a baking story that's filled with some drama, and I will tell you there's some heavy drama in here, as well as some mystery and a little bit of romance, you will totally enjoy this one. This is part of a series of standalones. We do have other titles that are similar to this one that you may enjoy as well. This is a batch made in heaven. Property of the Rebel Librarian. So June loves books, and the library is her favorite place at school. When June brings a book home called The Makings of a Witch, her parents do not think that the book is appropriate. And not only do they decide that June cannot read it, but they also want the book removed from the school library, so no one can read it. Leading the group of parents, they get the school librarian suspended and most of the books removed from the library, leaving behind the ones that they have deemed appropriate. June, though, decides that she's going to take matters into her own hands, and she starts this underground library in which she starts to loan out books that they are not allowed to read, which leads to actually more kids reading, but can also get June into a lot of trouble if she is caught. So she's going to have to make sure she is not caught. If you love realistic fiction, you will love this book, especially as it tackles a topic that is becoming more and more of an everyday topic, which it normally hadn't been in the past, but it's something to think about and wonder about. This is Property of the Rebel Librarian. And our last one for today is Dream Annie Dream. So it's 1987 Kansas, and Oi Inui is a 12-year-old Japanese American who decides it's going to be so much easier for everyone else to go by Annie since she's sick and tired of people butchering her name. And she has dreams. She wants to be in the NBA. She wants to be an actress. She wants to win awards. She maybe wants to do musical theater. Her father encourages her while her mother wants her to be a little more realistic. You will follow Annie throughout her school year as she explores, discovers, and faces various situations, from making the middle school basketball team, to struggling with her math assignments, to getting a part in the school play, the school musical for the year, The King and I, and all while facing microaggressions and forms of racism because of her heritage, being that she's Japanese American. You will be along on this awakening journey with Annie as she wants to be true to herself. She wants to follow her dreams, all while coming to terms with how others may see her. She doesn't need to be defined by their thoughts or opinion. There's a whole section in here in which she is accused of only getting her part in The King of I because she is Japanese American, which is totally not the case. This historical setting is one that is still relevant today. It's eye-opening, it's a thought-provoking story. As we read about, as we do not define, we should not be defining people by how they look or their heritage. Everyone's an individual. Dream Annie Dream is one that will bring you right there. Such an amazing story by Waka T. Brown. Loved this one. Dream Annie Dream. So these are just 6 of the books we have in the library that explore possibilities of exploration, hobbies, sports, getting passionate about something. So, encourage you, check out one of these, explore something new, or we have plenty of others that we can help you find depending on what it is you're wanting to think about, read about, maybe discover, explore. So, come on down to the library. We will help you with whatever it is that you want to read. So make sure, we are getting closer to the end of summer reading. Make sure you're tracking your hours, you're tracking your activities, you're getting the badges, you're getting your virtual prizes, tickets. Make sure you're entering your prize tickets before we get to the end and you forget that you still need to do that. But make sure you track everything you're doing. Sign into BeanStack. I hope you tune back next week when you have a whole new Middle Grade Book Spotlight. We'll have a whole new theme. We'll have a whole new badge for next week because summer reading isn't over. And I hope you have an amazing week.